Welcome to the PaulCruzSalesAgency. I hope everyone's having a fantastic week. I got to tell you something. I'm excited. I just opened up another office this week, and I am so excited about that and so blessed that I have that opportunity to do that. But I have a very important topic for everyone watching this video, whether you're a business owner, an entrepreneur, or you're just starting your sales career. This topic is for you. But I'm going to ask you a question before we dig into the topic. What is the number one concern for all of you business owners, entrepreneurs, and salespeople? The number one concern that we all think about is sales, right? Whether you're a $1 billion company, a startup company, and a growing company. The bottom line is this: without sales, we really don't have a business, right? Before we dig into the topic, if you're watching this on my channel, do me a favor. Hit the subscription button below if you want to follow me. If you like the video, smash the like button. And do me a very, very important favor. Share your comments, share your thoughts. Let me know what you think. Now, I'm going to share with you something that I've been using and that I always ask myself 3 questions for over 30 years. And I ask those questions every single day. So what I'm going to share with you today is the what, the why, and the how to grow your sales now. There's more opportunities today to produce and generate more sales than in my lifetime and being in sales 30 years. Okay? So now, step number 1 is what? What do you need to do as an entrepreneur, as a small business owner, as a salesperson to grow your sales? The first thing you have to do, number 1, is you have to master the art of cold calling. I know you're probably cringing and saying, cold calling, what's wrong with this guy? There's nothing wrong with me. It works. I have a strategy that I've been using combining social media, which is called automated, and organic, which is cold calling. Now, why is cold calling important? And I preach it quite often in most of my videos. Why? Because what cold calling does, if you do it right and you're trained right and you apply it right, it develops you at what type of salesperson you will become. It will develop you in the art of storytelling, how to get people engaged, how to deal with objection, how to deal with rejection, how to deal with personalities. And cold calling builds the foundation, how you're going to grow as an entrepreneur and a small business owner. I call it the boot camp of sales, the boot camp of business. It really is. So what else and why else is important to master cold calling? Because there's 3 things that you will develop besides what I just mentioned to you in cold calling. Number 1 is you will set the tone for how the relationship is going to go with the prospect. You really do. Here's the other thing. You start to develop your skill. And then you start to develop and increase the value in that skill. And I've been cold calling for 30 years. And it's the greatest thing that I've learned, because I'm successful today because I've learned to master cold calling. Okay, number 2, what you have to learn and you have to become. You have to become a dynamic salesperson. I know what you're thinking. Well, I'm not a salesperson. I'm here to share some good news and bad news with you. We're all salespeople. You, me, everyone we speak with. My cameraman is a salesperson. We're all salespeople. The difference is when you can admit you're a salesperson, then you start to grow. So what does dynamic salesperson mean? There's a lot to it, but I'm going to give you a few bullet points. To me, a dynamic salesperson is almost like a musician. Now, I used to be a musician. I used to rap. I used to sing. I used to do all that growing up. And what does What do we have in common? Musicians with dynamic salespeople. They know how to tell powerful stories. They know how to get people engaged. They know how to get people emotionally involved in the story because the story is about them. A dynamic salesperson knows how to understand the needs and the wants of a prospect, because there's only two ways we buy. We either want something or we need something. If you know any other way, please comment and let me know how else people buy. So, dynamic salesperson, what else do? They solve problems. What problems do they solve? What problems do I solve? I solve sales problems. My company, PaulCruzSalesAgency, the tagline is where sales happen. That's not a cliche. That's not something that I just wanted to sound good. It's what I do. I eat, I breathe, and I live it, and I produce. Then the final thing about being a dynamic salesperson is the engagement that they're able to do is incredible. It really is. So being a dynamic salesperson, to me, is the most amazing, phenomenal profession in the world. Because without real salespeople, the world just doesn't work. You probably heard me say that many times. I believe in that. A dynamic salesperson has conviction. They have confidence. They have persuasion. They know how to negotiate. And a real good one, a real dynamic salesperson, never makes it about them. They make it about the prospect. Because the story they tell, the leading actor is the prospect. The story is for the prospect, is for them. They need to see it. They need to understand it. They need to feel it. They need to know it. And now that's how you increase your value. You build a lot of trust. It doesn't come easy. And now, what's the third one that you must become? You must become a powerful closer. There's a difference between a salesperson and a closer. I know some really good salespeople that could tell good stories, but cannot close a door. Why? Because a closer knows how to get the prospect to take action on that engagement. They know how to overcome objections, rejections, personalities. They overcome resistance. And you see, there's a saying in business and in sales, ABC, always be closing. That's a corny cliche. Because if you're closing, you don't need to say always be closing. You're just closing, right? So a powerful closer also, they have so much value as a dynamic salesperson that a powerful closer very rarely has to negotiate their price because they become priceless through the whole sales process. And the final thing that a closer does, they get the deal done. So that's what you need to do to grow your sales. Now, the second part is why you need to do these 3 steps. Okay? Number 1, if you do these 3 steps, the first thing that will happen is your value will increase. You see, every business owner, no matter how big or small your business is, always need and wants good salespeople. That's a fact. So why not be really good at it? Because you become very valuable. By mastering cold calling, becoming a dynamic salesperson, and a powerful closer, you are very valuable. You are a valuable commodity. And I'll tell you a little story. When I was a stockbroker back in the days, and there were brokerage firms that wanted to pay me $50,000 up front to transfer to them, just to go to them. from one company to another. Because I had a book. A book means big, valuable clients that were worth hundreds of millions of dollars. And they were willing to pay me $50,000 so that I could bring them over to that company. That's valuable. So number one is you will increase your value. What happens when you increase your value? Number two is you start to grow your sales consistently. You just do. When you grow your sales consistently, let's say you work for a company, how valuable are you if you're the top producer of that company? They'll pay you anything to keep you so you don't go somewhere else, right? Because you're growing your sales consistently. But it all started with cold calling and becoming a dynamic salesperson and being a powerful closer. So why else should you do this? Number three is because if you're growing your sales consistently, what happens? Your monthly cash flow starts to increase. Because your cash flow cannot increase if you're not generating sales, right? Just think about it. So you start to increase your monthly cash flow. That's number three. Now, how sweet is that when you know you can grow your cash flow every single month because you're generating more sales and because you're valuable? Just think about it. Ask yourself that question. Now, when you're increasing your monthly cash flow, what's number four? Number four is you start to multiply your annual revenue. You see, you can't generate revenue or have revenue unless you have cash flow, right? You can't have cash flow unless you have sales, right? And you can't generate sales unless you have value. It's that simple. It's not complicated. Now, there's a lot of sales coaches and sales trainers out there that write books. They're more theoretical. They're not really practitioners. So you got to be careful about that. So that's number four, is you start to and not only increase your monthly cash flow, but you start to multiply your annual revenue, right? So what's number five? You're going to love this. Number five is you start to produce a higher profit margin. I could tell you right now, I have a huge profit margin. I don't have a lot of overhead. That's because I'm smart about what I do. But I know every time I generate a sale, I know where my profit margin is. Because I understand my cash flow. I understand my annual revenue. I understand sales. And I understand my value. Does that make sense? And then number six is you will get a huge return on your investment capital, whether it's financial capital or sweat equity capital. Because if you know how to sell, and you understand how dynamic you are, and you know how to close, and you know how to cold call, your business has no choice but to grow. How great does it feel if you know, listen, this month I'm going to generate X amount of dollars, and you know you're responsible, and you know you don't need nobody to do it, and you know all you got to do is make phone calls and you could get that done. And your overhead is zero. And all you have to do is be committed. Does that make sense? That's why you need to do the what. Now, before we get into the how to do it, if you're watching this on my channel and you want to follow me, hit the subscription button below. If you like this video so far, do me a favor, smash the like button and share your comments. But here's what I want you to understand. It's not easy. You have to be disciplined to cold call. You have to embrace it. There are things that I do for my business that I don't like, but nobody will ever know. Because when I take it on, it's like I'm enjoying it and I'm loving every minute of it. Because I have to do that. And all it does is increases my value. But you got to be disciplined. You have to starve out all of your distractions. You got to stay focused to doing that. Because if you can't not learn how to master cold calling, chances are you're not going to become a dynamic salesperson. And for sure, you're not going to be a powerful closer. Does that make sense? So, how do you do this? Well, what I would suggest you do is this. Visit my website at www.PaulCruzSalesAgency. Fill out the simple form below. It's basically an email. Respond. And then I will have somebody respond to you within 24 hours to talk to you about my 2 training programs. The first program that I have is called Martial Arts of Selling. There's nothing out there like it. I haven't spoken about this very much, but now I'm ready to share with all of you. The Martial Arts of Sales training program is basically built on fundamentals. Being a former martial artist is all about the right technique, the right defense, making your defense an offense, understanding the mind. So I have a program, has to do with that. It builds the basic fundamentals of not only cold calling, but being a salesperson, but being a closer. That's the boot camp. That's the mindset. That's the development. And then I combine that with the action. The action is called social media conversion strategy. How do you use social media with what you've learned through the martial arts of selling and applying that? You see, you can have all the information, all the knowledge you want, or all of the understanding you want. If you don't take action on that understanding, you'll never get knowledge. And if you're not taking action, you're not gaining knowledge, you're not going to have wisdom to develop yourself, to increase your value, to become a dynamic salesperson, to become a powerful closer. That's what my system does. And I do it every single day. Whether I'm talking to prospects about hiring me for my services, or when they hire me, I'm actually doing selling for my clients now, or I'm training their salespeople, or I'm developing salespeople and putting together salespeople. That's how you do it. So again, if you want to learn how to do this and you want to become a master cold caller, a dynamic salesperson, a powerful closer, again, visit my website at www.PaulCruzSalesAgency. Fill out the form, and we'll respond to you in 24 hours. And here's what you need to know about my company, PaulCruzSalesAgency, where sales happen. It just does. And as a matter of fact, I just took on a new client that I'm going to start selling for them on March 1st, which is Tuesday coming up next week. And I'm excited about that. I'm very excited. It's a good product. It's going to benefit the clients that will get involved. As a matter of fact, I'm actually involved with the company. I'm their client. And I was so excited about the product and the people behind it, I said, I want to sell for you. That's what selling is solving sales problem. So do the selling. Does that make sense, guys? So listen, I want to thank you all for watching. I hope this has been helpful, but do yourself a favor. Take action. Don't just listen and watch. Take action. And if you take the right action, I promise you, you will not be disappointed. Till we speak again, I say goodbye for now. And remember this. Master cold calling. Become a dynamic salesperson. Become a powerful closer. And then watch your sales grow. Talk to you later.